It's time to experience the future, where people, technologies, and ideas come together to find what's new and what's next, where supply chains tackle tomorrow. It's time for ProMat. Only at ProMat can you connect with over 1,100 of the top manufacturing and supply chain innovators under one roof. Expand your knowledge, learn impactful trends in nearly 200 seminars, and be energized by 4 inspiring keynotes. ProMat is where supply chain pros come together to connect, network, and build lasting business relationships with peers from the United States and around the world. Be among the first to access the next groundbreaking MHI annual industry report on the supply chain trends and the digital technologies revolutionizing the industry. Unveiled by Wanda Johnson and MHI CEO John Paxton, join comedian Jay Farrow for MHI's Industry Night, ProMat 2025. Go to ProMatShow.com to learn more and to register for free admission to the ProMat exhibits and educational conference.
All right, we are live here. Good morning. It is ProMat Day 3, and we are pushing through the conversations, and we're going to have more guests join us this morning. We're going to have 10 more guests join us this morning to talk about all things ProMat, all things that are happening here, and the solutions they're bringing to the industry. And we're going to kick it off this morning. We're going to kick it off with Robin Schneider, who is the marketing director over at Green Cubes Technology. And we've had Robin on the podcast before. First time meeting in person, though.
So fun to actually do this real life.
Yes, definitely. Great to be in person here, and great to get you on the couch here at ProMat. So tell us a little bit about how's this show going for you.
It's been really, really busy this year. It's been great.
Nice. Yeah, definitely.
Traffic.
Definitely. So for people that aren't familiar, why don't you give us a brief overview of Green Cubes Technology?
Yeah, so Green Cubes is a designer and manufacturer of lithium-ion batteries and chargers.
Mm-hmm.
We were founded in 1986, so been in business almost 40 years. We have over 300 employees. Our headquarters is in Kokomo, Indiana. But we have manufacturing there as well as in Malaysia, and then we have engineering locations in Switzerland, India, and Taiwan.
All right, very nice. And so tell us a little bit about kind of what you're hearing here around lithium and batteries in general.
Yeah, so the battery industry has really matured in the last 5 years. So we're seeing a lot of interest in things like how the batteries are serviced, what quality metrics look like, what our service team capability is, and things like that. Things that you would ask a more mature supply chain,
Sure.
And not just a new, interesting, new technology.
Got it. Okay. Very nice. And do you think that people are coming more geared towards lithium coming to the show? Because, there's been a lot of discussion about kind of transitioning over, right? Yep. So are you seeing that conversation is picking up even more so this year?
Yeah, I think people are really looking at lithium as the default battery technology.
Interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty interesting because I think just a couple of years ago, it was kind of like still like, let's see how this is going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And now things have really matured and people are asking a lot more mature questions.
Nice. So a much more educated attendee, you would say.
Definitely.
Okay, very cool. So here at the show or recently, you announced a new lithium-ion battery. So Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like I said, Green Cubes has been in business since 1986, but we introduced our first material handling battery in 2013. Since then, we've produced well over 10,000 battery packs for material handling equipment, and that represents well over 400 megawatt hours of power.
Wow.
So we've got a lot of batteries in the field, and we've been innovating along the way, but in this new product, or not new product, but the latest generation of our lithium Safe Flex flagship product line, we've taken all of that learning over the last decade plus, and we're rolling that up into a new product that we began to phase into the market about a year ago. Now we're just launching it. It's proven, and we're showing all the people those we're showing people all of those features that contribute to better safety, better reliability, easier serviceability, and better performance as well.
Yeah, all those things that we like.
Right.
Definitely, yeah. So tell us a little bit about, because I think people obviously, there's still a split in the market, right, between the types of energy that people use, whether it's internal combustion or lead acid or just transitioning to lithium. So tell us a little bit about, for people that maybe are thinking about that transition, what are some of the things to consider there?
So mostly what people are considering is the total cost of ownership. So the value proposition around lithium is really about efficiency, both in terms of electrical efficiency, but also in terms of operational efficiency. So if you're running a 24/7 operation, you want to be opportunity charging, lithium ion is really going to be the best technology for you,
Okay.
because it can charge in roughly an hour. So if you have 1.5 hour lunch and 2 15-minute breaks, you can just opportunity charge the battery, and you can have one battery per truck.
Interesting. So really kind of getting that more utilization, and that's total cost of ownership too, I think is a big thing as well. So tell us a little bit about that total cost of ownership, because I know one of the challenges or road bumps for lithium for a little while was kind of the upfront cost might be a little more, right?
Yep.
So talk to us about how do you look at that? How do you navigate maybe a little bit higher upfront cost, but over the long term, in that total cost of ownership, it's going to be less, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So there's first a very obvious thing that lead acid is about 80% electrically efficient, and lithium ion is about 98% electrically efficient. So there you get a cost savings on your energy bill.
Right.
But then there are things like, if you have a watering room, you can eliminate that. All of the maintenance associated with switching the batteries out, the potential health hazards associated with lead acid can add to your operational costs too. There's dangers associated with doing battery swaps. So all of those things can contribute to the cost of the battery operation.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think there's so many different factors there, like the one you just mentioned, right? If you have a watering room or like a battery storage swapping area or something, all of a sudden you gain that square footage back, right? And I think that's so interesting, because it's kind of these like peripheral things, right? When you first think about a battery, you're not thinking about like, oh, I'm going to get square footage back, right? I'm just thinking about like, oh, how do I power my forklifts, right? But there's these kind of dividends that pay off in that regard, and certainly that's super important now, right? Because people are trying to maximize their utilization of their square footage that they have already, and real estate is doesn't seem to be budging at all, right? If anything, it might be going a little higher, right? So how do we maximize already what we have? So I think that's very interesting. So here at the show at ProMat, we're on day 3 now, right? So I'm sure you've had a lot of conversations by now. So what are some of the customers saying as they're coming to your booth, and what are the challenges they're having? What are they looking for? What's interesting to them?
So most of them are really interested in this MHE battery that we've launched. They're interested in the features that it offers and how those features contribute to increased productivity. So for example, and these are really simple things, but they're things that we've learned from experience. For example, our battery control module, the smarts of the battery, if you will.
Yeah.
We've moved that to an easily accessible top compartment, so that for wearable parts and things that need to be serviced, you can just easily pop the top off and access those parts. So that contributes to the overall operational efficiency, because if somebody needs to service the battery, they can do so very easily. Another example is, it's very common to have heaters in lithium-ion batteries, so that they can operate in the refrigerator or some other kind of cold environment.
Right.
They really only need the heaters during charging, because the operational window for lithium-ion on discharge is pretty broad, and charging is much more narrow. And as the batteries self-discharge, as they discharge, they self-heat enough to keep them within their operating range. However, it's not uncommon that someone will, without thinking, leave the truck somewhere away from the charger, go on a break, go to the bathroom, do whatever. And and then the battery gets too cold to operate and discharge, and they can't get it back to the charger.
Oh, it's stuck.
They're stuck, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so, but you can't have the heaters on all the time because then they'll draw the battery down. So what we've done is introduce a new algorithm that will heat just enough in the discharge state that it can get the truck back to the charger. And I know that sounds very simple, but it's the kind of thing that happens that you don't really think about, and it's not sort of a normal design principle.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I've been hearing a lot of conversation this week, especially about these kind of like little nuances in a sense, right? And like, how do we address those? And I think you kind of just kind of encapsulated there perfectly. It's like we don't think about this every day, right? Like that this is going to happen, and then all of a sudden it happens, and it's like, like this is the biggest headache right now, right? So it's very interesting that you've been able to tackle that and kind of figure out how to solve that, right? So that headache never comes up in a sense.
Design for foreseeable misuse is really, really important.
I like that. Design for foreseeable misuse.
I got that from the medical industry.
Well, I like it. We can use it here too, definitely. So very interesting to talk to you here this morning, and thanks for coming in the booth and sharing a little bit about Green Cubes and the latest from you. If people want to learn more about the new battery and what your offerings, what's the best way to do that?
So come by our booth or go to our website, greencubes.com.
All right. Thank you very much, Robin, for joining us, and hope you have a good rest of ProMat.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll pass it on to the next person.
All right. That was Robin Schneider of Green Cubes Technology talking lithium-ion batteries. Up next, we are going to have Dan Gilmore, CMO over at Roboteon, join us here on the couch. Dan, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, Kevin. Glad to be here.
All right. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am just fine. How about yourself?
Doing well. Day 3 here. So seeing a lot of great things out here and hearing a lot of good things too. How about you?
Yeah, no, it's been a great couple of days. And Monday, a little slow as always. A lot of people coming in town. But Monday afternoon through Tuesday thus far, traffic's been great. And people are interested in automation. There's no question about that.
Yeah. There's lots of automation around here, lots of robots, and you're with Roboteon, right? So you work with some of those robots and automation. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So we're a software vendor, not a hardware vendor, but we provide a robotics fulfillment platform that enables companies to really, the starting point is achieving their strategic objectives in terms of automation and robotics faster and better. Our platform supports an end-to-end capability from integration, management, orchestration, and optimization of robot-enabled processes. And really, we'd like to think about this concept of robots, humans, and other warehouse automation working together as one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very interesting because as you mentioned, there's a lot of automation, a lot of robots here, right, at ProMat this week. But you're kind of almost the glue in a sense that are going to bring some of those together, right, in operation. Right.
Yeah, it all starts with integration. I said that a second ago. But then it's this whole concept of interoperability of robots of different vendors of different types all working together as if it's a single environment. Those are kind of the foundational pieces that we do. And then you just get a little more sophisticated and a little more capabilities in terms of orchestrating the flow of those goods across different robotic processes, and then using AI and simulation and other techniques to optimize the results.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so important to have that, because the more companies that start to adopt robots, start to adopt automation, and it's inevitable that they're going to have something from more than one company, right, in their operation. So they're going to need them to work together. So we're on day 3 here. So I'm sure you've had a lot of conversations so far with attendees here and people coming to the Roboteon booth. So tell us a little bit about what are some of those conversations going like? What are people having maybe challenges with that they're looking for Roboteon as a solution?
Sure. I'll preface that with just note that our booth is very different in the fact that we're not just walking the walk, we're talking the walk, we're walking the walk.
I saw that, yeah.
And so we have 5 different mobile robots in our booth, 2 different robotic arm picking systems, all from different vendors of different types. We have a robotic induction of cases onto a conveyor with print and apply. So we're doing all this live on the show floor. So we're demonstrating that we can do what we say we can do. So I'll just start with that. So people are very impressed. No one else is doing anything like this in the show floor. We're rocking ProMat 2025, as I said.
There we go. Yeah.
So it's really, really cool what we're doing. It's really interesting what's going on here. So many companies, if I had to say like the people we've talked to the last couple of days and segment them into different buckets, by far the biggest bucket would be still trying to figure out what to do and how to do it and how to do it with. There's so much uncertainty out there. Companies are trying to figure out what applications can I use warehouse automation for, robotics specifically. What are the use cases? What are the differences among vendors? How do I get the ROI? So, we're not a consulting company, we're a software company, but we have deep domain expertise and we have a set of tools, and particularly in the simulation area, that can help answer those questions. But it's just, we're obviously at the cusp of a new warehouse robotics era, but yet companies are really still searching for answers out there in terms of how to go about what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's still, I would say, it's still pretty early still, right? In terms of like penetration in the market for robotics and automation. There's still many warehouses out there that have none, right? Yeah.
I like it. It's like there's this wave of automation that's coming and it's building and it's building. But companies are still trying to answer these fundamental questions that I talked about. I think once the industry gets educated, once the tools that enable them to achieve their objectives are more widely known and distributed, once the ROI questions are a little more solidified, I think it's just going to break like the dam breaking. I think there's going to be, I don't know if it's going to start in 2025, I don't know if it's going to start in 2026, but something like that, where you're going to just see a wave of implementations, and frankly, the hardware vendors will probably have a hard time keeping up with the demand.
Interesting. Yeah. I think that's very interesting, because I do feel it like bubbling up. Like I said, this wave building, right? And I think it is getting to that point, because we're certainly seeing, I think, a lot of solution providers too that are coming out with I guess you would say more accessible type solutions, right? From a cost perspective, from implementation type of perspective, that's making it a lot easier to start to bring robots or automation in. So it sounds like when that wave comes crashing through the dam, you guys are going to be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, we're going to be in a great spot, and we're already seeing how we can help customers in this journey. But certainly, you talked about the coming era of the heterogeneous environment. We're made to do that in spades in terms of being able to connect these different robots of different vendors of different types into one integrated workflow, one integrated orchestration of the fulfillment process across multiple steps in the picking and fulfillment process. So, and we just make it easier. I said at the very beginning, we help make this process for customers faster and better. And a lot of these, pilot programs and proof of concept programs are taking too long to get executed, too long to get time to value, and our platform makes it a lot easier to get that done faster. There's always hurdles, of course, not trying to say it's a panacea, but yet we do make it a lot easier for customers to get where they want to go. And really, from an executive perspective, executives aren't going to care that much about the minutia of how boxes are being managed on the DC floor.
Yeah.
They are being charged with what is our automation strategy. The C-level wants to know, what are we doing in terms of automation? So executives are getting a lot of pressure to come up with their 5-year roadmap or whatever, and we can help them get there just faster and better they can do with other types of vendors.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think it is interesting to see that. And I've experienced that in my career in the past too, where I had a boss that said like, oh, we need to figure out how to automate this thing. And there's a lot of steps that kind of go into that, right? So tell us, I guess, from that perspective, for people that are being tasked with coming up with this automation strategy, right? How would you advise them, or how could they leverage Roboteon potentially to help them start to lay the foundation for that strategy and what it looks like for the next few years for them?
Sure. I could answer that for about an hour if we want to hit the time, but I'll just start with this. I think I mentioned earlier that we're doing quite a bit in the simulation area. And we're doing that simulation capability, what I like to call it, is multiple time horizons. The first, which is what's kind of appeal to the C-level and is appealing to the C-level, is a strategic or design-oriented simulation. In other words, where am I going to put robots? How many do I need? Do I need 30 robots and 30 humans and 60 robots, or some other ratio? And then how does, every vendor's got different feeds and speeds in terms of what they're capable of, different payloads, whatever. You can do mix all of these variables in and do a series of what-if analysis, make assumptions. Is it going to take me 30 seconds to do a pick? That's my assumption, but What if it's 40 seconds? How does that impact the ROI? So you can do all of this stuff. Customers absolutely love it, that they can play around with what the different options are and see what the results are in terms of throughput and cost per pick, and then use that information to help build the business case. So other OEM vendors from the hardware perspective have some simulation tools. What separates Softeon or Roboteon is it's a vendor agnostic. So we're not in. We recommend on the hardware, but we don't sell the hardware. We're going to give you an honest assessment of what, and give you a tool to allow you to compare the results of different vendors and their speeds and feeds across your landscape.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great thing to have that simulation aspect, because then you can kind of see, exactly what's going to be happening there, right? And how to kind of go about that and navigate that, right? Because I think, we said multiple times here, there's tons of solutions out there in the market now, but it's like, what's the right one for me? Where do I go, and how do I navigate that? So I think having a tool to be able to do that is really great. So definitely appreciate you stopping by here, Dan, as always, and catching up with you and learning the latest about Roboteon. But if people are still here at the show, or they want to learn more about Roboteon later on, what's the best way to do that?
Sure. Well, it's roboteon.com. You can get a lot of information there. That's just roboteon.com, and we'd love to hear from you there. But we're in the Lakeside Hall here at the ProMat, booth E12020. That's E12 for East 020. And we still got another day and a half of this show, so plenty of time if you're here to come by and see us. And we're running a live demo on the bottom of every hour, so 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, and it's no one's doing anything like it on the show floor. I'd love to have you come by and take a look as well.
All right, awesome. And we'll be going by later this afternoon too to capture some video there as well. So we'll be able to share that with you guys later on in the next couple of weeks, so you can see it too if you can't make it to ProMat. But Dan, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Kevin, it was a pleasure as always.
All right, have a good rest of the show. All right, that was Dan Gilmore of Roboteon. Up next, we're going to have Matt Kelly join us from High Robotics. Matt's going to come on in here. And, we had a nice party last night, Warehousing After Dark in person. If you weren't there, you definitely missed out, but we're doing more of those. So, Matt, welcome in. Headphones there. Can you hear me?
I can, Kevin. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. How's everything going this week?
It's good. I mean, I think you can describe it as chaos, but it's good chaos.
Chaos. Hey, nothing wrong with a little chaos sometimes, definitely. So you're with High Robotics. So I guess kick it off. Give us just a brief overview of High if people are not familiar.
Sure. No, it's my pleasure. So we founded in 2016. We have over 1,500 installations worldwide. We were the pioneer of ACR technologies. That's autonomous case handling robots.
Okay.
And we're now, kind of expanding that. We're into climbing robots on racking. So we've unveiled a new product. We've got new partners that we've unveiled this week. So it's a very exciting time for us.
Nice. So congratulations on the newly announced High Pick Climb, right, is what it's called, right? Yep. So tell us a little bit about that. Maybe tell us what kind of inspired that too as well, and what's the right applications for that.
Yeah, I think we've been listening to our customers, to the market. And I think, brownfield applications is a sweet spot for us. And I think that's an area where the market really needs a good solution that can be implemented quickly at a very low cost. There's a lot of great technologies out there that do high speed, picking, but a lot of those are best suited for greenfields. You need, kind of a brand new slate. And I think a lot of companies, a lot of customers have gotten a long way with what they've got. And so they're looking for that next leap, but they can't move, right? They're out of space. They need this type of automation, but they need it at a low cost of entry, but also a modular type of system that can scale and grow with them. I think especially today, the risk, the future is so uncertain that I think a lot of companies need something that, they know can scale with them. They know can grow with them. And so that's really what we're excited about, that kind of total cost of ownership as low as possible, a low entry point, modular, and something that can scale as a company grows.
Interesting. And tell us a little bit about kind of what the feedback has been, because you guys launched this, I think it's been two weeks now.
Yeah, it was February 25th.
Okay.
Was our global launch. Fortunately, we already have some live customers overseas.
Yeah.
We'll have our first go live in the U.S. just outside of Los Angeles in June. So very exciting. The feedback has been great. For us, this really puts us into a high speed, high throughput category, while we're still, solving for the density challenges. So the feedback's been great. We still offer the same flexibility at the pick and post pick, but I think we're very excited.
Definitely. And so tell us too, because I'm sure people have seen you at ProMat or Modax before, or other trade shows, or just videos. So tell us a little bit, what's different about the high pick climb versus the solution that you had before.
So this one is it's very simple. So we don't need a perfectly flat floor. The fire suppression requirements are much lower, but it is still that each picking type of an engine. We do have flexibility, though. We can use trays. We can do auto tray and D-tray. So there's a lot of different things we can do as far as how we address SKUs. But this is about 3 times faster than our original systems, and it's actually at a lower cost. We can implement much quicker. And I think that's something that's very exciting, right? We've done a go live in 3 months. We're averaging about 6 months from PO to go live. And I think that's something that customers really need and demand today is you've got to get that ROI cranking.
Yeah,
you can't wait years. I mean, it takes years to get one of these, sold and designed. You can't wait another 2 years before you're starting to see the return on investment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's becoming more and more important, right? People are concerned about, the cost of things, and, they need to see those returns. And I think, especially too, as we look at the market, right. And these solutions become more accessible to some of more of that mid-market, even small businesses in some cases, right? They definitely want ROI faster, right?
Yeah, and they also want to understand, the maintenance side, the total cost of ownership. I tell people all the time, our job is not done at go live. That's really the beginning. And you've got to be in the customer's corner. You've got to get them an understanding and a perspective of what this is going to cost over the long term. Because it's not just about, here's the system, good luck, right?
Yeah.
This is a journey you're taking with a customer. And I think that's very important too, is to understand the maintenance side.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. And so tell us a little bit too, I guess, like who is the right customer for High Pick Climb and your solutions?
So it's a terrible answer because we're applicable to a broad swath of industries. I think our biggest vertical is apparel and footwear, but it's focused though in each picking. So we're doing a lot of split case picking, even though we can handle direct cartons. I think the bulk of the value we bring is in that split case type of application. And then, we've got a lot of great customers with, healthcare, 3PLs. And I think 3PLs is very interesting too, because they struggle to invest in big fixed automation.
Right.
They've got various types of contracts with customers. Sometimes it's 2 years, sometimes it's 10 years. With our system, with the flexibility, the fact that you can take it down and move it to a different part of the building or to a new building altogether, that still provides that goods to person, high speed efficiency, but with the kind of understanding of the risk that is associated with this type of investment, that's very, appealing to the 3PL market. So that's definitely a hot industry for us. But again, it's a terrible answer. We're applicable to a broad range of customers. So.
Yeah. You got a warehouse?
Yeah.
We got something for you. Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely. So tell us, I guess, on the floor here, we're at ProMat. It's day 3 now. And so I'm sure you had lots of conversations at this point, right? So tell us some of the feedback. What are you hearing? What are people talking about on the floor out here?
Yeah, I think, a lot of people are ready to spend and to solve the challenges that they're facing. I think labor still continues to be a major pain point. Yeah. And it's not about replacing jobs. I did a lecture a few days ago about robots replacing jobs, and I think that's not the reality. The reality is they're struggling to find people. An employee who has to walk 10 miles a day to pick and put away items, that's not a job a lot of people want.
No.
And, so companies are really looking to systems like ours to solve for the fact that they can't find people, certainly in peak season too.
Yeah.
You've got to get orders out the door very quickly. Amazon kind of set the standard in that regard.
Yeah,
with
that damn
minutes.
Amazon.
I mean,
yeah.
18 minutes from the time you place an order till it ships. So the pressure to get product out the door for companies has never been higher. Labor has never been more difficult to find, and certainly it's cumbersome, right? You got to train people, you got to onboard people. And so, our technology, I think, is solving a lot of that. And then, the cost of storing goods has also never been higher, real estate, et cetera. So, when we can shrink the footprint that inventory is stored in a warehouse, that's a huge value for an organization.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think it's very interesting to hear that. I'm always interested to hear kind of what people are saying out there, because, there's so many people that are here, right? And so many problems, challenges walking through the door, and it's always interesting to hear what people are dealing with. So also this week, you guys are announcing some new integrator partnerships as well. So tell us a little bit about those, and I guess tell us, why is that important to have these partnerships?
Yeah, it is, because at the end of the day, we're focused on being the best at what we do, right? Which is a high-speed picking engine.
Yeah.
But a customer needs ancillary technology. They need a software layer. They really need a partner to provide that full end-to-end solution. We don't do that, but our integrators do. So we're proud to be a part of the solution, but a lot of customers need much more. So we've announced this week KPI Solutions is a new integrator of ours, as well as Fortna. We're very proud of that. Those are two very powerful integrators in the market with a broad tool set. They're both very agnostic. So when they approach a customer, they're looking at it very holistically. They're looking at those pain points and solving for that. That could be with us. It could be with other each picking engines that they offer. So, our go-to-market strategy is through our integrators. We value them. We believe that we bring the most value to the market with the integrators in hand. So, we're very proud of that. And we train them. They know how to design. They know how to sell and serve and support the system in perpetuity.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's a great thing, because you bring in those kind of different areas of expertise too, and they're able to bring that to the customer as well, and I'm sure help you guys with a lot of support there as well on the customer front. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, we would not be where we are today without our integrator partners. So we value them. I think they value us as an OEM, and we're very lucky.
Good. So shout out to the integrator partners. Definitely. Sure. Yeah. So Matt, really great to have you come by the booth here and talk to us a little bit about High and what you guys are up to, and the latest too as well. And congratulations again on the launch of High Pick Climb recently here. So if people are interested in learning more, what's the best way to do that?
I mean, you can go to our website, highrobotics.com. You can find us on LinkedIn, but you can also come by the booth, North Hall, 7909. And we're happy to show you the new system and talk robotics.
Awesome. All right. So go check it out. And Matt, thank you so much for coming by today, and hope you enjoy the rest of the week at ProMat here.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. All right. And that was Matt Kelly from High Robotics. And up next here, we are going to have two guests coming in. We have Dana Jones coming in. Take a seat here. All right, put the headphones on. Oh, all right. Good morning.
Morning.
Hello. How are you? We have Dana Jones, president of Philadelphia Scientific, and Chris Leroux of Sackett Systems. Welcome in. How is the show going for you?
Great.
Very good.
Very good.
Very
Great
big.
place for networking. And
Huge.
meeting
Yeah.
customers
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Let's
seeing
move
products.
your mics a little closer here.
Okay. Is it better?
There we go. All right. So definitely a big show, of course, definitely. But tell us a little bit about your company. Do you want to kick us off here, Dana? Tell us a little bit about
Sure.
Philadelphia Scientific.
Philadelphia Scientific is about a 40-year-old company,
Mhm.
started by my dad. He came from Excite Batteries. So we have always worked on helping companies get the best performance, life, productivity out of the batteries. We help companies avoid all kinds of failure modes with their batteries.
Gotcha. And do you make batteries or no? Just
No,
the
we make
surrounding
either
parts?
accessories for batteries or management systems. A lot of our new stuff is information about batteries
Okay.
because everything's getting so much more complicated now.
Mm.
There's so many more choices. The world is getting more data driven. Companies are bigger, distribution centers are bigger, so information is becoming much more important. So our company has shifted, from a mechanical. I mean, my background is computer science, so I drive the software side of things. My dad started the business; he's a mechanical engineer. So our products are shifting from the mechanical to that software focus.
Interesting, and definitely a lot going on with information. We'll talk about that a little bit. And Chris, tell us a little bit about what Sackett does.
Sackett Systems makes battery exchange systems for electric forklift fleets of all sizes. And so when you're running a forklift in a warehouse or distribution center, it's important that it runs 24 hours a day. You want
Definitely.
minimal
That's what it's for.
downtime. That's what it's for. And so my product helps pull those batteries out, replace it with a charged battery, and get it back on the floor, moving product as quickly as possible.
Definitely. So maximizing kind of that utilization of your equipment.
Exactly.
All right.
And we're a dealer partner for Philadelphia Scientific, and we sell their products, mainly the iBoss product, which is a battery management tool.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So tell us a little bit about kind of the data and the information side of batteries and battery management. I guess tell us first why it's so important, and how do you kind of leverage some of that to be able to get some better utilization or get some more visibility into what's going on with your energy.
Sure. What's kind of fell out is we look at like three categories, and this tends to fall in the priorities of these big companies. First being productivity. If they have a forklift driver come into a battery room and there are no batteries available, that means they're picking batteries that haven't even finished charging yet. That means they're going to be coming back soon for a battery.
Right.
If those battery run times are short, that means they're spending more time in the battery room than doing work. So number one is the productivity of the facility. If they've got that problem under control, then it's a question of not having more assets than you need. We find companies have millions and millions of dollars of excess batteries sometimes.
Really?
And they don't know it. And sometimes it's batteries that aren't being used at all, and sometimes it's just they have too much inventory on the shelf. So then minimizing that saves them a lot of capital, and it also means that there's less batteries to maintain. And then thirdly, if you've got that problem solved, make sure your batteries are lasting as long as possible.
Yeah.
So you look at productivity, asset size, and then the life of the assets, and that's how you're going to optimize. So it's a multi-dimensional problem, and these are 24/7 facilities. Typical site, we have 400 batteries, 200 trucks. They're big, complicated things.
Right.
And we feed the information, and then they need to make decisions, and that's where Chris probably has a better feel than I do for what they do when they get.
Yeah, so customers, one of my customers is Uline. We work with Uline, Walmart, some of the other large customers that. And across their network, they've got 2,000 or 3,000 of these batteries that are $5,000 a pop. They can have $15 million worth of assets out there. And customers like Uline, they want to know, do they have as many as they need? Are they oversized as far as their asset? Or they also want to maximize the life of those assets by making sure they're maintained properly. And so with customers like Uline, they're looking at, okay, are we properly maintaining these batteries? Are we washing them on a regular basis? Are we equalizing them when they need to be equalized? Are they getting proper cool down time after a charge cycle? And so the iBoss battery manager system gives them all these tools in real time so that they can look and make sure they've got enough batteries or they have too many batteries. If they've got 23 distribution centers or more, they can see this distribution center has an excess of this type of battery, but this one's short. So they can transfer them between sites. So it helps them reduce the number of batteries they need in a facility or across their entire network. And also, batteries last 5 to 7 years. You want to make sure you're getting a good runtime out of them so that the forklift is not coming back prematurely for batteries every day.
Yeah.
And so the iBoss battery management system gives them the ability to see that data and act on it in real time. And so typically it's the engineering team that's looking at all this data. The accounting group is looking at how much money is being
Sure,
spent.
of course,
And
yeah.
between the two, that's how they're deciding that the iBoss battery management system is a real asset to them by keeping the number of assets down, the cost of those assets down, and maximizing the life of them as well.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think there's sounds like so many opportunities there that if you don't have that kind of visibility through the data and the information, that you could be missing out on, right? As you mentioned, maybe like millions of dollars potentially, right? So for people, how do they start on this journey? How do they start to get a hold of this data, start to get this visibility in place so they can really see where, either where they're falling short or where there's excess, but where are those opportunities?
It's a good question. Once they start getting the data, let's assume that we've had a great partner like Chris and Sackett, where since they're doing the battery room equipment, they're usually ones that would recommend to a customer that they could optimize something, and they would bring us in. And we find there's a big disconnect between the people who are working in the facility and the people at the corporate level. They're that old thing with the blind men and the elephant, right? If you're feeling the tail, you have a different perspective than if you're feeling the foot or the trunk. And when you understand that it's an elephant, you're getting everybody on the same page. So when the people in the facility are seeing the same reports as the people at corporate, all of a sudden they're now coming together, because people at corporate very rarely get out into the field.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing. And that is another point to mention that we probably need to pull in here, is we just talked all about batteries, what battery life and size and whatever, but then the people aspect is huge too. So we've got one customer that has 50 locations. They're all 24/7. That means there's probably 20 at least people in the battery room for each site. That's 1,000, possibly 2,000 people in all different times of day, all days of the week, all different locations. And they probably have close to 20,000 batteries. Imagine trying to make sure you synchronize all that work and make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to. It's a crazy amount of potential for mistakes, for waste, for just superstitious behavior. So a lot of it is them getting used to making data-driven decisions instead of hope-based, right? That's traditionally what has happened, is companies will power study, and then they will use some assumptions, and they'll come up with some ratios, and they'll buy a fleet of batteries, and then they'll go on autopilot for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
As if conditions don't change. As if you got it all right the first time.
Yeah.
Right? That would be like me pointing my car in the direction, closing my eyes, and hitting the accelerator and just driving in a straight line. Like, I'm not going to get where I'm going unless I have a feedback loop that I can constantly steer that car where I want that car to go.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is getting them used to a different mentality of a feedback loop where they're constantly adjusting. It's more of a continuous improvement mentality.
So, they're typically, the customers are watering their batteries or equalizing their batteries, but they're not doing it in a way that they get feedback from that. They're keeping it on paper, saying, okay, I got to water this battery today, I got to water that battery today, I'm going to equalize this one. But with the battery manager system, it's alerting the operators, okay, today this specific battery needs to be watered, this specific battery needs to be equalized, and then it tracks that over the life of the asset, so you can see how your batteries are performing in that. And then at the end, you think they've got 200 or 300 batteries at a facility. Well, they don't last forever.
Yeah.
And so it's typically they're buying a certain percentage of batteries every year. Well, with the battery managers, you can tell exactly which batteries are the ones that you want to replace, because they're not getting the runtime that you expect out of a battery, which is typically 6 to 8 hours of runtime. They're not getting it. They're getting 5 or 6. Okay, let's look at that battery. It'll point to specific problems with specific batteries and chargers as well. So they're using that feedback loop in a way that they really can't if they're doing that. Even if they're doing that maintenance really well in a manual system, they're not getting the feedback that the battery manager gives them and shows them that they are performing or they're not performing.
Yeah, very interesting. And I think it just kind of shows how much value is in that data, right? But if you get that data, you need to be able to harness it, right, and turn it into that information that's going to allow you to do these different things. And I love how you said that, bringing the people on the floor kind of on the same page as the corporate level, right, and getting that understanding. And now you're working together, and you both have that visibility that can help you to make that progress and create those opportunities and take advantage of those opportunities. So it's really interesting to talk to you both here, and I really appreciate you stopping by the booth this morning and joining us here on the live stream. If people want to learn more about Philadelphia Scientific, what's the best way to do that?
Our website is phlsci.com. So that's probably the easiest way to find us. And then all our contact information is there. And there's also product information.
All right, great. And what about Sackett?
Thanks for having us, first of all, but www.sacketsystems.com. And, give us a call, meet us on the internet, and we can help you out with anything you need in the battery room.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you both for stopping by and sharing these insights with us. And definitely check them out and to learn more. And have a great rest of your week here at ProMat.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All right, so that was Dana Jones from Philadelphia Scientific and Chris Leroux of Sackett Systems. Up next, we have A.K. Schultz of SVT Robotics coming on in, joining us here. A.K., how are you? Very good. I like that. All right. Get you set.
Deep culture.
Yeah. Comfortable?
Yeah, it's okay.
We got IKEA's best here.
Is this okay? Am I in frame?
Yeah.
Right, good.
Yeah, you're
Perfect.
good. You're good. Definitely. So welcome in here. How you been, man?
Hey, it's great, and thanks for having me.
Of course. So SVT Robotics founder, CEO, right? So for people that aren't familiar, just give us a brief overview of SVT.
Yeah, we're the data integration layer between host systems and robots, right? If you buy a robot, drop it on the shipping dock or on the receiving dock, you can't make it do anything without data.
Right.
And data, there's like floor sweepers and such, but anything that's involving picking or business transactions requires some form of integration, either ingesting data, using it, or transmitting data. And I'd even argue the things that don't require integration, should they provide data that could be harnessed.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think, data is becoming more and more of a topic. The more people I talk to, whether it's through the podcast or just talking at shows like this and other shows too. I mean, data is becoming, it's always been there, right? But people, I think, are becoming more aware of it as well. So I'm curious, you see a lot of things. You guys have a ton of partners, right? A lot of companies that you're able to create these integrations with through the soft bots and everything. So what are you seeing in the industry right now that's kind of catching your attention or that you think is really important to call out?
The big elephant is, of course, AI.
Yeah.
Right? Where's it going to go? What's it going to do? Haven't seen a whole lot of use at scale yet in the enterprise. There's the Gen AI aspect. I think companies are still trying to figure out how to apply it and make it useful. But a lot of it comes down to clean data,
right,
and being able to believe the answer. I think that's really the question: is can you believe the answer?
Yeah. And
if you ask or try to get an answer out of AI, if it gives you the wrong answer, how do you know? And do you have to have a human step in order to use the data, or is it automatically fed back? If it's automatically fed back, AI will confidently answer questions incorrectly, very quickly and at scale if you're not careful. So we're thinking a lot about this problem. Our mission has been about data, and we believe that the T in SVT is transparency, right? Like the black boxes are one of the worst data thefts
Mm.
that everyone knows about. It's like you paid for the software, but you get none of the data. You can't see it.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make that way more transparent, because most of the data out there is, I call it digital pollution. It's data that never gets converted into information.
Yeah.
Sitting in data centers, literally warming the earth.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's, I'm sure Azure's super stoked to have it. Right. But like, I think it would be really interesting to know what percentage of the data actually is converted into information, and how useful that information is, and how useful is the information is relative to time. Right? It could be useful, but is it relevant now? Like, or is it too late? Right?
Yeah.
So there's a latency of usefulness that I think is getting more and more interesting. And AI will short circuit a lot of it, but I think we have to be very careful about how we do it. And I think what I see is it's going to be more point. I believe it's going to be more point applications until people get a feeling for whether or not we can broadly scale it outside of a single point.
Yeah, interesting, and I like that term, the digital pollution. Yeah, I think that's interesting. So I mean, around that, I mean, what are you know, some of the operators, warehouse companies, 3PLs that you guys work with? I mean, what are their thoughts around AI? I mean, are they into it? They're skeptical, embracing, holding off?
If you look at, I would classify, your small and mid market. Right now they're probably not so focused on it.
Yeah.
Large enterprise and mega enterprise are probably two different things. I'd say the mega enterprises, they're really thinking about it. But I'd say even the large enterprise, they've got their hands full with a lot of stuff right now. Like there's a lot of changing economic climate, so there's a lot of people kind of waiting and seeing. But the larger enterprise companies are really thinking about it, and they're thinking about data hygiene, because data hygiene is essential to correct answers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And data hygiene. I think that's the first time I heard hygiene used around data. I mean, obviously I heard clean data, but that data hygiene is nice, definitely. So, I mean, I think it's a very interesting time, right? I mean, we see here, we come to like a show like ProMat, and obviously there's tons of new technology, tons of interesting things to look at, but behind that is kind of all that data that's driving a lot of it, right? Sure. So now you guys just launched a new portal, right, for the SoftBot platform. So tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, well, it's all about data, right? So
I had a feeling.
Yeah, I mean, big surprise. That was a big lead in. So, listen, again, operators and IT professionals, what they care about is the business is running, right? And right now it is, with all the data we have, it's amazingly difficult to glean information. And a lot of that information sits between realms. And realms, I mean, inside of, people think about robots and WMSs, these are applications, but really they're part of a technology ecosystem, which includes servers and which includes, the broadband, the IT, the Wi-Fi network, right? All these things have to work in concert. And when you are doing an investigation of why something is down, you have to check all these things individually, and it's not concentrated in one view. And so the problem with that is that when you can only have so many monitors on your desk, right? You can have only so many screens, but you also have, it's very difficult for the brain to connect the dots when these things are in disparate places.
Right.
But when they're brought together and synthesized, then you can come to conclusions way faster. And that's been a priority for us. A lot of people know us for rapid integration, easy integration, but that's really just a start. The real benefit is what makes it easy for integration is actually how we build our domain models, which basically decide how the data is structured. Well, the first step in harnessing that is actually making it so when a facility has an error, it comes back up really quickly. When there's a problem, the operator will say warehouse is not working. That's the that's the ticket. And so what happens is the phone tree gets called around of every vendor who's touching it to include internal IT. And the first answer, rubber stamp, is not our fault, call X. Right. And that will go on for an hour.
Takes time. Yeah.
And in the meantime, operators are getting desperate. They just start moving stuff and getting data out of sync. Right. And things get worse and worse with time. And so our data will actually tell you almost immediately what vendor is got the problem, and it will give the entire payload and timestamp and travel and logic tree of what happened, so that you can rapidly send that to the company that needs to get their portion of. And also, we look at we're able to measure latency of messaging across the entire stack. So now we can see is like, well, it took this much time to get here. Like the overall time was this.
Yeah.
Because that's what everyone knows. It's like, it took 2 seconds. Why is it taking 2 seconds? It's like, well, this is 50 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds. And then there's like 1.9 seconds, right? Like is in one place. And that it allows you to like get after it really quickly. And then the next phase for us, of course, is, all right, like, can we predict this? Can we gain an understanding of the data using something to crawl through the data and provide these insights on why things are happening or when they happen, so on and so forth.
Interesting. So kind of taking that visibility to the next level, right? So you kind of started, like you said, with the integration, right, with the softbot platforms and being able to connect those systems, right? And now how do we get that visibility into like one single kind of pane of glass, right? And then understand long term, like, oh, where might we have a failure, right? Or where might something go wrong? Let's get ahead of that. Let's be proactive. And I think that's really great. And you said I could take an hour to call around to those different vendors, which the normal person might be like, oh, an hour, what's that? But in operations, an hour is like a lifetime sometimes, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that can be delayed, a lot of things that can be held up because of that hour in time, even just a couple of seconds, right? So very interesting that you dove into that, and I think it's really smart to be able to take that visibility to the next level, and like you said, it's all about the data here. So very interesting to talk to you, always, AK, and really great to hear about the updates with SVT. If people want to learn more, what's the best way to do that?
Come by the booth, and you can always send me a LinkedIn message, or the guys on my team, Terry Krantz, Brian Shuckle, Jim Hodson. They're all available on LinkedIn, and or you can fill out contact information on the website, and we'll give you a call.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for stopping by today, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show this week.
All right, Kevin. Thanks a lot.
All right, always good to see you. All right, so that was AK Schultz of SVT Robotics there, and up next here, we have Beth coming in. Yeah. We got Beth Parker of Newcastle Systems. Beth, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Let's make sure we get you set with the microphone here.
Testing.
There we go.
Thank you.
All right.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. How's the show going for you so far this week?
It's going great. I just got here yesterday, and we've gotten some great visitors coming by and checking out our new prototype, as well as some of our classics. And lots of good interest, and meeting some quality people. So it's so nice.
All right. Awesome. And tell us a little bit about Newcastle Systems for people that aren't familiar.
Yeah, sure. So Newcastle Systems, we're based in Amesbury, Massachusetts, and we build mobile-powered workstations or work carts out of Amesbury. Yeah, and we provide, a simple tool but really effective tool to help people streamline their businesses and boost productivity. And we're kind of looking to bridge the gap between humans and technology.
Definitely. And obviously love the carts. We have a cart in the booth this year too as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
And I've used them in my operations many times. And I think very good solution to be able to have power essentially wherever you need it, right? And be able to work kind of where the work is, right? Which I think is really a good thing.
Right.
So the new prototype, tell us about that.
Yeah, so right now we just have a little simple prototype in our booth, and we're looking for some feedback on that.
Okay.
We're looking to sort of streamline one of our carts, that do a little bit of a redesign and offer a little bit more space on the bottom where the batteries typically go. People have asked for that, and also a little bit more power for some other technology on top, a little port for power, and more streamlined. So we're looking to, something that even easier maneuverability, streamlined in a more affordable solution. So we're looking into some more affordable power as well, so that we can offer that to customers who are looking for it.
Yeah, very nice. And I think that it's so good because you guys operate from like a lean continuous improvement perspective,
Yes.
in your own operations, right? And you're very much the carts very much enable that to happen in other operations too, as well. So it's great that you're kind of going to the floor in a sense to ask for feedback and for on that prototype and how do we improve this and make this better, which I think is really a good thing to hear, and kind of getting that real-time voice of the customer in a sense, right?
Yeah, we don't want to redesign in a vacuum, so we definitely want to hear people's ideas. So come bring us your ideas.
Absolutely. I love that. Definitely. So tell us a little bit about kind of, you mentioned there the human kind of tie-in to automation. Right? Oh, we have it right here on the shirt.
Our new tagline, the human element of
she's
automation.
coming in ready to go, right? So
hot.
definitely. So tell us a little bit about that, because we, obviously here we see tons of automation surrounding us, right? So tell us a little bit about that, the new tagline and kind of what that means to you.
Yeah, sure. So, a lot of companies are investing in automation, but there are a lot more companies who aren't quite ready to invest in full automation yet. And so they really want to look for ways that they can empower their workers and, sort of provide automation level productivity without going fully automated, right? So without getting into the robotics, which is, super cool, but not everyone's ready for that.
Yeah.
So we really are looking to bridge the gap between humans and technology, and allow the workers to have the right technology at their fingertips, so that we can really, look at the untapped potential in the humans and in the workers. So providing such simple tools like mobile power, giving them real-time data access, is really just helping them to automate as much as they can in their work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's so much still that human element in the operation, just in general, right? But even bringing in a lot of these automation solutions, I mean, that the human element is still going to exist, right? So, yeah.
And it's so important that workers, Kevin Ledversus was just talking about this in his talk yesterday.
Yeah.
It looks like about only 30% of workers feel engaged. And that means that 70% of people don't feel engaged in their work. And what does that mean? They might not feel valued. They might not feel like they have a say. They're maybe not getting the right technology that they need to do their job. And most people want to do a good job, right? So if you give them the right tools to do a good job, then you're making them feel invested in and valued, and they'll stick around. So that really helps with retention and just overall workforce stability.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. And I agree with all those points. And so, as you've been here at the show, or as your team has been here at the show, I know so you just got here yesterday, right?
Yesterday.
But I'm sure you've had some conversations, and your team has had some conversations. And what are people kind of saying around this idea of the human element of automation?
I mean, it's cool. I think a lot of people do recognize that they want to make people feel valued, and they want to invest. So I am hearing a little bit more about people talking about making their workers feel comfortable and ergonomics. And I think that companies are realizing that it doesn't take a huge investment, but it really pays off. So you get big ROI with a little bit of investment, and making people feel like they're given the tools that they need. Again, so making them feel more comfortable. They're bending over, they're walking. These warehouses are huge. They could do less walking and be more productive, doing a better job. A lot of these companies, they get their carts and they feel sort of an attachment to them. They give them nicknames, and so it's really cool to see that. And I think those are the stories that stick with me, is like someone showing up to work and going right to their cart before anyone else gets it, because they have like a little attachment to it. So that's nice. I mean, you're at work many hours a day, and if you have the right tools and you feel like you can do a great job with something that makes you feel valued, that's super important, and people will stick around. So
yeah, and I can definitely attest to that cart attachment. A previous company I worked at, where I was a manager there, and we had a fleet of Newcastle carts, and yeah, it was definitely the leads had them, and they would be like, oh, so and so took my cart this morning, right. So, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so that's cool. It's
yeah.
cool to see that, and it's cool to see that businesses feel like they, might be ready to invest in something like that. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's great to see kind of the progress and even the carts, like the evolution and the development and what people can do with them too. I think that you guys allow for a lot of flexibility around them, and people get creative with them.
Yeah.
But speaking of getting creative, right? I saw you did a little rap.
Oh no! Yes.
Tell us about this rap.
Well, it might be like the top 3 goofiest things I've ever done in my life, but my 13-year-old was impressed, so he likes
that's
rap music.
nice. There you go.
I was happy with that. Christine, our VP of marketing, she was like, hey, wouldn't it be nice if you did a song? And I'm like, I'm not going to sing. And she's like, how about a rap? I'm like, challenge accepted. So, so anyway, it was fun. I wrote it in about 30 minutes. And so if anyone's looking for a rap for, your trade show exhibition, please, maybe I'll have a side business. I don't know.
Definitely. Well, we're going to see you on one of the stages of these theaters maybe next year, right?
100%. Yeah, it depends on how much they'll pay me, I guess.
For sure. So Beth, thank you so much for coming by the booth and talking to us. Thanks for lending us a cart this week as well, and the support there. And definitely, if you're looking to check out the hottest new single in supply chain, check out Beth's LinkedIn, Newcastle LinkedIn, where she did that. But if people want to learn more about the carts, what's the best way to do that?
Yes, if you want to learn more about the carts, come to booth S4282 and check it out. Give us some feedback, and also you can check out newcastlesystems.com and follow us and friend us and all that good stuff. But we're happy to hear your feedback, and would love to know what the human element of automation means to you.
All right, awesome. And
Thanks,
we'll be
Kevin.
asking that question on the floor a little bit too here this week. So if you see us, make sure you got an answer ready. So Beth, thank you so much again for stopping by, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks, Kevin.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me.
Have a good one.
Show.
All right, that was Beth Parker from Newcastle Systems here, bringing the carts and bringing the power to wherever the work is in the warehouse. And up next, we are going to have 2 guests coming in here.
Yeah, I guess so. Do we put
Headphones on so you can hear me nice and well there. Oh, careful. All right, so joining me here, we have Nathan Hibbs and James Malley, and they are representing the SLAM Industry Group. There you go. Bring that in there. Bring that in there, buddy. So we can hear you. How are you both?
Good. Great. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yes, definitely. I visited you at your booth a couple of days ago, and now you're here. So it's good to be exchanging booth visits.
Absolutely. I mean, that's like 3 miles across the conference.
You're telling me. Yeah. And Nathan, how's the week been for you?
Yeah, great. Yesterday was extremely busy. We're over in South Hall.
Yeah.
I didn't get the chance to leave the booth at all because I've been back-to-back meetings. But so looking forward to maybe Thursday slowing down so I can walk around.
So you can breathe a little bit. Yeah, definitely. Okay, sounds good. So welcome in here, and definitely great to get you both in here representing the SLAM Industry Group. So for people that aren't familiar, I guess first, what does SLAM stand for?
Scan, label, apply, manifest.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you agree, Nathan?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of the last 100 feet of
Sure.
the warehouse before you ship the product out the door.
Yeah, absolutely, and a very critical part, right, of the operation and the entire process flow there. So the industry group, what is the industry group focused on? What is it all about?
You want to take this one?
Sure. Yeah, I think we're focused mostly on the automation of this last 100 feet. So the SLAM process. So we have a bunch of member companies that offer a wide range of different solutions, automated solutions, or software solutions and things that can help your operations and provide a good starting place for people looking to automate their warehouse.
Definitely. Kind of that educational resource, right? For that last 100 feet, as you said, of the warehouse itself there. So if we look at the last 100 feet, what's exciting right now in the last 100 feet? What's catching your attention? What's coming out here?
Well, I think being here, you get to see more upstream of where we live. So we live in that last 100 feet, but all of the amazing like robotics and picking automation solutions here actually kind of inform in a way what happens down in our area. So I think what's most interesting to me anyway is how we as a category, almost just the slice of the warehouse that focuses on this stuff and kind of react to what's going on upstream. SLAM is getting, many more orders than before because picking automation has sped this stuff up so much. So that's why the group is really valuable for us too, because we're hanging out, having really deep discussions with other members, understanding what gaps we can help fill to really accommodate all this increased volume. But also just learn about other solutions where, we don't need to worry about that because this other company in the group is all over it. They're really good at handling labeling, for example. So anyway, that was kind of a long answer, but that's what makes it exciting.
We like long answers. It's good. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Things that kind of have excited me, especially in the SLAM process, is some of the newer technologies. Like we've added the right size packaging. So you may not think of that as the last 100 feet, the packaging part of it, but rethinking that and adding this right size packaging machines could rethink your operations, improve your sustainability, save space in your trucks, and be able to ship more packages in the same volume.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's interesting that James, I think you pointed out there that in this area, the SLAM area, right, we're seeing more volume being pushed to that and at a higher throughput, higher rate because of some of this automation that's happening upstream, as you said, right? So you're seeing that companies are wanting to kind of change the way they look at the SLAM area now because of this high volume, because it's one thing to, I guess, get these picks through in a rapid rate, right? But then you need to keep up on the packing side and the outbound side as well. So how are companies kind of changing their perspective on that area of the operation?
Well, I think one perspective that we've heard is almost if you were to walk through ProMat 2025 and just with a grocery list of the latest in automation, you build out this state-of-the-art warehouse. Well, after building that that flow, that process with all these solutions, the single physical piece of output, it's your boxes, right?
Yeah.
So that better be efficient because you got to have something to show for all of those improvements all up and down the process. So I think that's part of it. Is great, we reduce costs significantly by improving picking. Well, the thing left is to make sure that the things actually going out the door, for e-commerce, the things that are showing up on the doorstep of the customer, make sure that they experience some of that efficiency as well, because that's really the only physical experience that consumers have with the output of its warehouses.
Yeah, and even further than just efficiency, making sure that you're getting it right. The quality is, important. Not only just damaged packages, you can catch that before it goes out the door. Making sure you're shipping the right thing, and before you potentially make an angry customer by making a mistake.
Yeah, we don't like angry customers, right? No, definitely not. So very interesting there, and I think covering all those kind of bases, right? One on the efficiency side and one on the quality side, right? Because you could certainly push through as many boxes, packages as you want, but if they're not right, I mean, it doesn't even really count, right? That you shipped it in a sense, right? So if we look at the automation side of things, I mean, are we seeing that automation is kind of coming into play within the SLAM area as well?
Absolutely. I mean, certainly, Nathan mentioned on-demand packaging, but that continues to improve every year. More and more high throughput solutions, whether it's a box first kind of machine that's just spitting these boxes out so they're there and ready ahead of time when the tote full of SKUs arrive at the pack station, or what we call box last, where there's the SKUs go into a giant machine, and then the machine wraps the box around those items. So there's a lot of options, really options for every kind of setup you could think of. I think that's where we're seeing some of the most improvement every year.
Yeah, and even if you're not like ready to fully automate and go, all in, there's still a lot of efficiencies getting automated systems. This is the normal scanning, labeling, applying, check weighing, and being able to pass that data upstream to your WMS. You can not only catch these problems before they happen, but analyze the data afterwards. So you can use that to improve your process, whether that's in the SLAM part or upstream.
Yeah, interesting. And I think that data is such a key. And a lot of people that we've talked to this morning have been talking about data, but I think it becomes so central, so key to the warehouse operation, right? Not only to know what's going on at the moment, but what could potentially go on, what has gone on, how do we take that, and how do we see those opportunities for sure. So really interesting there. And if people want to leverage the SLAM industry group as a resource as they start to look at those 100 feet in their operation, what's the best way to do that?
Well, they can go online. You can basically Google SLAM, or there are events, and there's lots of research and reporting that the group does. So search around for those. There's some usually like very up-to-date, insightful stuff. So.
Yeah, and we have some 101 documents. We're working on many different things all the time to educate. So you can, regardless of where you are in that process or how much you know, you can get in from the bottom and learn from the 101 or get a little more advanced. But yeah, always take a look at the list of our member companies to see their solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a great resource, certainly, if you're starting to look at that, and it's all free, right?
It's all free.
Yeah, we love free, definitely. So very great for you both to come here, James and Nathan, and join me here on the show this morning and talk to us a little bit about this great industry resource from the SLAM group, part of MHI industry groups. And I think you can check it out, mhi.org/SLAM. I think I've learned that all the industry groups are mhi.org/industry group, whatever it is, right? So definitely check that out. And thank you both for joining me today, and great to get the insights from you and some information about the SLAM group. So have a good rest of the week and enjoy the rest of ProMat.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. So that was James Malley and Nathan Hibbs representing the SLAM industry group here. And up next. Okay. So up next, we're going to shuffle our order a little bit here. Up next, we're going to hear from the Solutions Community Industry Group. We're going to be joined by Allison Myers of FIV, and also Dan Gilmore is going to come back representing the Solutions Community as well from Roboteon. All right. Welcome back, Dan.
Yeah, here I am. Second time.
Move your microphone in there. There we go. And Allison, how are you?
Apparently not very graceful sitting down, but great.
we had a couple issues with this couch sliding a little bit, so apologies there. Yes, but we're all good here. So how's the show been for you?
It's excellent. I think this is one of the busiest ProMats we've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, every year
the busiest
it's bigger,
Monday.
Right? Yeah.
A lot of times we anticipate it being a little slow start, but it was an incredibly fast start right out the gate. So we're very pleased and happy to be here.
Nice. That's good to hear, definitely. And Dan, what about you? I know we talked earlier this morning, right? But from an outsider perspective and a solutions community perspective, how do you think the show has gone?
Yeah, I think it's great. Attendance is excellent, of course, and I think it's kind of a cliche, but I think these are serious customer prospects that are here at the show this week. A lot of them have mandates of some kind or another from up and above that says we need to put some automation in our warehouse, and they're here at the show trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great thing to hear, right? And I think people are, I think, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. I mean, I think that the show is continuing to grow, right, from MHI's perspective. And like Modex last year, they added the third hall, right? This year they added this hall, right? And I think it's kind of a testament to how our industry is just continuing to grow, right? And there's lots of advancements happening in technology, but also I think it's underlying kind of the critical importance that material handling has just in the world in general, in business. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the push for automation and how to do things easier, faster, smarter, better, and more efficient in our lives, in our daily lives, as well as, of course, in material handling, is continuing to push the boundaries. You're going to see a lot of innovation here from various companies to help everyone do it just a little bit better, a little bit faster, and a little bit more efficient.
Yeah.
And of course, what's driving that, I mean, it's well understood, but the labor situation continues to address it. Not enough people, too expensive, and we just, the need to automate to compensate against the changes that are happening in the labor market, which everyone is struggling with. Virtually every company we talk to here at our booth, at the Roboteon booth, is complaining about the labor scenario that they're facing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's been just an ongoing challenge, right, for people in material handling and warehousing. But you guys have a tool to help people with that, right?
We do.
Right.
We're excited to talk about it. And I'm going to let Dan explain a little bit about what it is.
Sure.
So we're representing the MHI, once known as Material Handling Institute, and within that, a solutions community group that is the genesis of this solution. So it's a new and innovative tool to help companies match up and find potential solutions to their problems and challenges and opportunities, whether that's hardware, software, consulting, some other services.
Yeah.
Do so through a new online tool that's kind of being launched, if you will, here at the show. It allows companies to anonymously, and that's the key point. We'll come back to that. I'm not going to throw Allison's thunder here, so we can get into some more detail, but it's a way that they can submit their problem, opportunity, or challenge anonymously. A pool of over 100 vendors across multiple technologies and services will review that, come back with a response in terms of how they might solve their problem, and then the company that did the original submittal can look at all those, decide, hey, these look interesting to me, these don't, and have a mechanism to engage with one or more of those prospects. So something very different, and something that we think could be a real value-added tool for the marketplace in materials handling.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, I mean, we can talk about what it's called. So introducing
what's the name?
Warehouse and DC Solutions Network.
Sure.
So what's great about the Warehouse and DC Solutions Network that Dan kind of alluded to is it's part of our solutions community, which is an industry group that's a part of MHI. So MHI is what puts on the show here at ProMat.
Yes, yeah.
And the solutions community is over 100 of those companies that have joined together to collectively really work together for a community to understand material handling, to do outreach, education, but most importantly, have a collaborative space where we can push the industry forward to answer stuff like labor challenges and what are you trying to accomplish in your warehouse and how do you want to move your products and how can you do that better. And I think, they say that we all together rise together better than separate. And so that's what solutions community is. It's 100+ companies working together that can provide solutions. So the Warehouse and DC Solutions Network that you can be a part of is really an anonymous place. So you're a customer and you are walking up and down these show floors and maybe you don't know where to get started.
There's a lot
of automation here. It can be overwhelming. Well, we're kind of that one-stop shop. You can start with us. Start with the Warehouse and DC Solutions Network. And what you do is it's very simple. You fill out a form. There's 4 easy steps. We actually have these if you see us out. So we have this information for you about the Warehouse and DC Solutions Network. So we're passing these out. It's 4 easy steps. You just go to the website.
Okay.
So that's mhi.org, which you should be pretty familiar with.
Yeah.
/solutions community. And then it's going to be Warehouse DC Solutions. If you can't find that, because that's a lot, just go to mhi.org and look for the industry groups, look for Solutions Community, or just remember mhi.org/Solutions Community. And you're going to see a form. And this is where you can submit it. So 4 easy steps, fill out the form, tell us about your project. Yeah. Of course, the more information in, the better that we can find a match for you. And then what's great about it is that information is anonymous. We're not going to know. So those of us that are on the floor, not going to know about that information because MHI is going to review it and then have us submit it to them. And then, so it's almost like a matchmaking service, if you will. So the project review happens, and then what you're going to receive as that practitioner, as that customer, are tailored solutions that you can review yourself, and then decide. It's almost kind of a matchmaking service, if you will, if you want to match up to that company. So it's a perfect way to get started to try to find someone to help you with your challenging problems around material handling.
Yeah, and I think that's great too, and I love the fact that it's anonymous. I think that's great, right? Because I think a lot of people, they're kind of like, maybe there's a project they're not quite sure, but then they're like, well, I don't want to get bombarded, right, by sales or something, right?
It's just solutions, no sales pitch. Just solutions, no sales pitch. Help you get started. One click, and you've got the power of 100+ companies behind you to help you solve your problems.
And just to further elucidate on that, you may get back, after you've submitted your problem or challenge opportunity, you may get back 4 or 5, let's just say, I'm picking a number out of the air, of descriptions of how different companies would solve your problem or address your challenge. But now you're free to review those, and maybe you got 4 or 5 back that you like, number 1, number 3, and number 4. Those are the ones you're going to say, I'd like to engage with these 3 companies. They seem like they have the best fit. With my requirements are now the connection is made, and you can start a dialogue with those 3 providers that you want, based on the submission that you want to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's great to be able to you get those options, right? So you can choose your path, right? And so for people that are here, right, attending, and maybe they're exploring, and as we mentioned, there's so much, right? It's kind of overwhelming maybe for somebody that's not quite exactly sure their next step, or maybe they're just starting to look at automation, for example, right? So if they come away from this show and maybe they inspired, right, they have some ideas that we could address this, like how would you recommend or maybe the better question is, when would you recommend that they engage with this tool?
Really, you can start today. So you can go to the website that I mentioned multiple times. We have these around, so there's QR codes that you can scan to get there. You can do that if you'd like. Go back to your hotel room and get started. So the MHI staff is available to start reviewing those submittals. We do ask for a little bit of patience, so it is not immediate. There'll be a couple weeks lag there, and I would say overall, probably by the time people get things back, especially since all of us right now are at the show, there'll be a I would say this is more of a 3 or 4 week process, but it will really help you kind of whittle down and get solutions if you don't know where you're going and you don't know where to get started. And it's just a great tool to fill out and to see what's out there. There may be something outside of your view of what you need, right? I think a lot of times when we come to the shows and we're looking to solve a problem, we think we know what we want, but maybe we don't know all that's out there. And I kind of started saying this being here at the show. There's so many new innovations. There's so much new technology from robotics and AMRs and AGVs, and everything keeps being elevated. Maybe there's a new company that you haven't even thought of, or maybe a company that's an old, trusted, faithful company that's Spartan Solutions has come out with a brand new product. It's just exactly what you need. So I think that's the beauty of the DC Warehouse DC Solutions Network.
Actually, Kevin, if I could just add to that.
Sure.
I mean, I think of this as another tool in the toolbox, right? Another arrow in the quiver. People are still going to do web searches. People are still going to come to ProMat. People are going to webinars. They're going to do all of those things that they typically do. But this is a new, very different way to identify potential solution providers. So I think it would start fairly to your previous question, fairly early in the process to augment what you may be already doing or whatever, because you're going to get a fairly, people are, I don't think, people are going to use this boilerplate responses. I think they're going to put some thought into the responses, make them tailored, make them appropriate, make them relevant. And with very little effort, you're going to get this input without having to travel, without having to watch a webinar to do any of those things. You're going to get some feedback from real solution providers with an explanation of how they can address the problem. And I think another nice addition to the other techniques you may be using already.
Yeah, and I think those are all great points there, and I think it's a great point too that you don't necessarily know everything that's out there, right? And if you're an operator, or you're running warehouses, you're focused on the warehouses running, right? And especially if you're in the position where you haven't done any automation or any large scale projects yet, your knowledge is probably pretty limited. You can do some searching, like you mentioned there, Dan, but searching can only take you so far.
Your worldview is going to be limited, right? That's why we have things like ProMat and Modex, and we're a part of MHI, and we have the solutions community, and we have this new warehouse DC solutions network is education. It's to help us learn and help us find the places where we can connect to these tools, add tools to our toolbox, because we don't know everything and we're so busy. We have limited time, limited capacity to do, and this just kind of makes our lives a little bit easier, and we hope it makes it easier for all of our practitioners and customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just one more quick follow-up again on that too. If you do a Google search on warehouse automation, just to pick that out as a topic du jour, what are you going to get? You're going to get a page of sponsored ads, right? It's going to
be sponsored ads. Who's got the best SEO? Yeah.
Whereas this is a more objective, I don't want to say nice work, but people are trying to find opportunities for question, but this is a different approach that is going to give you a different kind of result that you can leverage and add to the other techniques.
Absolutely, definitely, and a great tool that you guys are bringing out here as the solutions community, and certainly one that I think many will leverage. The smart ones will leverage, I will say. So really appreciate you both stopping by and informing us about this tool and sharing it with the audience, and hopefully a lot of people can leverage it and utilize this great resource that you put together.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
All right.
We'll be out here looking. If you also stop, I think, at the MHI booth, they have them there. If you
there you go.
The QR
or look for the purple.
Or look for me.
Look for the purple, and then look for the green card. There you go.
Right. I'm gonna squeeze in one last comment, which we neglected to mention. We had a number of practitioners, end user companies, end user supply chain managers and executives review this tool as we developed it along the way. So there's not just vendors making up the tool.
That's a great
There's
point.
some real practitioners that were involved in the development of this, and that's going to make it better for everybody.
That's great. Yeah. I think that's perfect. I think that both sides of the table being involved, I think is a fantastic thing. So definitely check out the tool. And Allison and Dan, thank you for coming in and letting us know all about it.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks.
All right.
Kevin, a pleasure as always.
Always a pleasure, Dan. Definitely. Have a good one.
Bye.
All right. Thank you. All right. So definitely check out that tool, leverage that. Super important, I think, to get those perspectives there and be able to leverage those. And coming up next here, we're going to have Jordan Sanders. He is the Chief Commercial Officer over at Slip Robotics. Jordan, welcome in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is quite a setup you got here.
Yeah, you like it, yeah?
Not bad, man.
Yeah. See, we're evolving. We're changing. Yeah, this couch is sliding here today. Extra.
Yeah.
So how's everything going for you?
Great. Yeah, it's been a really great show for us. I think ProMat or Modex last year was kind of our coming out party in a way.
Yeah,
definitely. For Slip, obviously won the best new innovation award. So a lot of excitement last year, but I'd say this year the fun thing is that folks are coming by and they know of us. They've seen our bots, at different sites. So yeah, having a lot of fun, great conversations, and also great to just have we have a lot of our team here. I think we have like 20 folks from our team. So a lot of good energy.
Definitely. Yeah. Big Slip party.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So for people maybe that are familiar with Slip, tell us a little bit about it and what does the bot do?
Yeah. So what we do is super simple. It's Slip Robotics. We load and unload trucks in 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We do that using basically giant Roombas, the large mobile platform, 17 feet long, 8 feet wide. And with that, we can load and unload any freight in 5 minutes. There's no IT integration. It basically works on arrival at any dock. And so, we've grown super quickly in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Landed and expanded with a lot of great customers. And just, it's having kind of great time.
Yeah, absolutely. And unloading and loading that truck in 5 minutes, I think is huge, right? I'm sure you get a lot of people raise their eyebrows at that, saying like 5 minutes. Like, I can get my truck unloaded in 5 minutes. You're insane, right? Yeah. And so, the idea of it, I mean, it's a huge platform essentially, right? That kind of wheels in and out of autonomously from the truck, and which I think is very genius, right? And you're able to come out with that, and focused on pallet loads, right? Originally, but you just recently announced a SlipBot Plus, right? Which kind of expands that. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So at Slip, we're all about simplicity. The product itself, we looked at a problem that is loading and unloading, right? And ultimately, we looked at that problem. It's like, what if we could just build the floor, but it moves, right? So we joke, but it's not a joke, that our biggest competition is the floor, right? And that was our design inspiration, is the floor, but moving. So
it was a thank you, floor, for the inspiration.
That's we're all about simplicity, and so. What SlipBot Plus is basically our product line for modular attachments to go on top of the SlipBot to make the bots even more compatible with all types of freight. So already today, our customers, we do a lot of work in automotive, and so you have a really large SKU mix. So honestly, still, most people, when they see a SlipBot, they think, oh, it's for pallets. In reality today, probably less than 10% of the freight that we carry is actually pallets.
Really?
It's a lot of automotive racks, totes, bins, things like that. So we're already doing a lot of that today, but because we've had hundreds of bots now out in the field for several years, you get all sorts of ideas of, hey, what would be really nice is if, right?
Yeah.
And so the SlipBot Plus product line is essentially that. It's modular attachments, again, that kind of came directly from customer feedback. The kind of few versions that we've announced is SlipBot Plus Rack. What that is essentially an infinitely configurable rack that on top of the SlipBot. Really uniquely, it uses to kind of make the make the levels or make the racking. Essentially, we're using load bars, the same load bars that are used inside trailers. Using e-track connectors. So it's a pretty novel design. Makes it really easy for folks to work with. They literally already have the equipment necessary to build the kind of rack.
More inspiration there.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Very nice. I like that.
So that's SlipBot Plus Rack. Great for non-stackable freight, and a variety of kind of irregular sized freight. We also announced SlipBot Plus bin, and that's basically for parcel loading and unloading. So,
I saw that.
Look, that one I'd say it just looks cool.
It does.
Also is very functional, but it definitely is catching a lot of eyes as people walk by. And even for myself, every time I look at that, I'm like, that's a lot of packages.
It is definitely.
I think it's. You don't realize, I mean, there's, thousands of packages that fit inside of these 53-foot trailers, but you don't normally see it in, out in the open, right? In this, the kind of way that you do with the bot. So that's SlipBot Plus bin. And then kind of the last big one is SlipBot Plus XL, and that's for oversized, very large freight. So just big, hard to handle parts that frankly, that's very much born out of on existing customer sites. They're using SlipBots, and for the first one that we rolled out, the XL application, it literally just came from a guy walking over and saying, hey, can you guys come down here and look at what I'm about to load? It's this like 40-foot long kind of steel beam, and it was not smooth, not the safest thing, right? And so that kind of the Plus XL is essentially you can put a kind of mounting points essentially on top of the bot to make that loading process a lot easier. We've had a number of customers go from essentially they've rolled out SlipBots. They're using it for all their trailer shipments, and then they're saying, but we've got a couple. We've got one or two things that we have to ship via flatbeds. The steel beams being one of those. So big benefit, just kind of operationally, is like, cool. Now we can actually we don't have to just ship the stuff via flatbeds. So you don't have to have this kind of carve out in our operations and pay for the expensive flatbeds. We can now ship them inside dry trailers. That's SlipBot Plus. Again, it's really just an extension on the base platform, just to make it even more broadly applicable.
Interesting. Yeah. I think it's really interesting, like how you've thought about it, because it's almost like you kind of created the blank slate in,
Right.
in a sense, right? And then how do we build on top of that? What kind of accessories can we put on that and do different things with that? And obviously, it sounds like a lot of kind of creative inspiration or just questions from customers that kind of that led to some of those things. So so I'm curious here, I mean, on the floor, as people are seeing it, what kind of ideas are they having for how they can utilize this or how they can put it into their operation?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say my two favorite comments we get from people, one is they say it's so, and usually they pause, and I say simple, and and I always joke that, like, that's the biggest compliment, right? Like, we want it to be the best technology is simple. My iPhone is underlying technology in my iPhone is crazy complex, but me as a user, like, I think
easy to use.
It's simple, right? So we get that a lot. We also get holy crap, I can't believe this doesn't already exist. Us either. But in terms of kind of use cases and applications, I'd say, especially now that we're showing, our view of our products has always been it's a base platform. It's customizable or configurable from the deck up. But I think what's been really fun at the show is now that we're showing that to everyone, it's, we like to show, not tell. And now that we're showing, it's bringing all sorts of ideas of, what would be really nice is if, or, I never, folks are like, oh, I've taken a look at you guys. I think what you're doing is really cool, but I didn't realize that, I didn't even think about the non-stackable freight, example. So I was talking to someone earlier today who was saying that essentially they are shipping drywall, essentially, a single level of drywall, filling out a full 53-foot trailer with a single level of drywall. And because it's so fragile, they have to kind of ship it in single level. And so this, obviously, the slip-up plus rack is an amazing thing for them because you can literally 6 to 8x your cubic utilization. So not only it'll be a lot easier to load and unload this fragile drywall, but you'll be able to actually not just ship a bunch of air, right? So great, as we're showing, the more that we show, the more applications,
more ideas,
use cases kind of find us.
Definitely interesting. So I mean, I think it's such a great solution and simple, like you said, I think, which is so important to be able to have that simplicity around the solution, because it's easier for people to fathom, like putting in their operation and utilizing it. So now, the bot goes with the truck, right? So obviously, going from own facility to own facility, not a problem, maintaining that bot. But are you seeing customers where they're working with maybe partners that they ship to regularly, creating some kind of loop system on how to get those back?
Yeah, I think it's something that's super unique, frankly, about our go-to-market is for most of our customers, most folks start with kind of what we call short haul, high frequency shuttle route. The two main use cases that come to mind are kind of a raw material warehouse feeding parts inbound to a nearby manufacturing plant, or finished goods going outbound from a manufacturing plant to a nearby warehouse. So that's a lot of the use cases that we fill today. Most of the time, definitely more than half of our customers say the manufacturer, right? But there's another party that does the transportation, right? And there's another party who will operate that offsite warehouse, right? So in some ways, what's very unique is that, like, from the earliest date, like we kind of get a 3-for-1 in terms of kind of say customers or exposure to the product. So we've seen a lot of actually organic growth from, say, a 3PL starts using the product at an offsite warehouse at one manufacturing plant, and then that 3PL says, hey, we have similar operations like over here where we think this could be great. So that's one piece of it. We definitely now with customers, our customer base is, we do a lot in automotive. So we work with both OEMs and tier ones. There's a lot of natural kind of connections that kind of come up there, right? And saying, hey, if we're already using SlipBots, right, in this part of our supply chain and this side of our warehouse, what we receive on the other side of our warehouse from our tier one suppliers, like, could they start using SlipBots? So we're seeing a lot of that actually start to happen. So we start with kind of A to B to A, usually multi-party involved in that. And then very quickly, because again, simplicity, it can work on any dock. It's good for both sides, right, of the equation. It saves you, time and money on both sides. We're seeing a lot of natural growth of just, hey, cool, we want to use bots throughout our supply chain. And kind of a single bot will what's really fun is you start actually being able to, we're seeing bots flow across multiple sites through multiple parties,
Okay.
right? And you start to kind of see the tapping into the connectivity that's, the supply chains already exist, right? But we have a really unique product in that we're just actually tapping into an existing kind of flow and flowing kind of, through there. So, and I'd say the last piece of it for us is regional density. So we've got a lot of our a lot of manufacturing and a lot of supply chain is really kind of East Coast heavy,
right?
But it really happens in these tight clusters, right? So
Yeah.
places like Louisville, Kentucky, where we have a number of bots and a number of customers, or Reno, Nevada, or Austin, Texas. And so what's great is as we're landing customers in those regions and bots are hitting multiple sites, we are literally getting organic kind of word of mouth.
Yeah.
Folks are saying, "Hey, I saw them, at this warehouse." And so, it's pretty cool.
Definitely, and so happy to hear like the growth that you guys have had. I know we talked about it kind of early on, and I think it's been so really interesting to see kind of that development and now like the Slipbot Plus too, and the options there as well. And I know when I saw with the parcels on it, like it took me back to my days in the warehouse and thinking about like, oh man, if we could have worked this out with like our UPS like drop trailers and stuff, like we could have done a lot more like during like busy season when the drop trailer was late and we could load and not like have to load and then load again, and do all those things. Like a lot of flexibility there to be able to do that. But I do have to ask, has anybody tried to send the Slipbot on a container on a ship yet?
That's a great question. Not yet.
Okay.
That'll be fun when they do. All the bots do have GPS modules on them, so we have full visibility. So we'll know when that happens, and we'll be able to hopefully track it down.
Yeah.
But no, I will say on the connectivity point, I've been hearing a lot, especially as folks now everyone comes for like the immediate, the obvious immediate like kind of ROI for this 5-minute load and unload. But I'm hearing, and we're learning more from customers how much just visibility and tracking of the loads and movements, how valuable it is, especially across multiple parties.
Yeah.
So the conversation I was having with folks yesterday was that essentially, you have when you have these multi-party sort of flows, right, you can sometimes end up with two sites who are saying, are we behind? Are they behind? Right? It's like very unclear where, say, like some of the bottlenecks in the supply chain is. Like, why are trucks on Tuesdays not seem to not be arriving on time?
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of visibility to that. So one of the added benefits is we have this platform called SlipView, basically an online dashboard where you can see not just real-time information, but play around a lot, like look at historical data and see where bottlenecks are happening. So that's again, that's just another area where we view the Slipbots as a platform that provide immediate value, and then we're frankly learning with our customers all the different ways that, say, some of the data insights can actually be really, really helpful for their operations.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's great too. Like as you start to roll this out, right? Like you said, you see kind of surface level benefits, right? And then you start to dig in, and you're like, oh, well, we could do this or we could do that, right? And the mind starts like rolling, and then you get all these great ideas, and I also see like all these opportunities potentially for improvement of efficiency or whatever the case may be.
Right.
So really interesting what you guys have been doing there at Slip Robotics, and really great, and congratulations on the Slipbot Plus launch of that and the success as well. If people want to learn more about Slip Robotics, what's the best way to do that?
Sliprobotics.com. Follow us on LinkedIn. We're always sharing a lot of content there. Got more really cool case studies kind of coming up that we'll be releasing here in the next couple of weeks. So it's probably the best way. And I'll say congratulations to you as well on the growth of
thank you.
The new warehouse year over year. I'm just like, man, you're blowing up. So it's
we're trying, definitely. Yeah, I appreciate that definitely, and appreciate you supporting and coming by this morning as well, talking to us all things Slip. So hope you have a good rest of the show this week, and we'll definitely catch up later.
Cool, man. Look forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, that was Jordan Sanders, Chief Commercial Officer over at Slip Robotics. And if you haven't checked out their robots yet, make sure you do. They are doing some interesting things on the load and unload and creating a lot of potential flexibility for you in that area. So this is going to be the end of our show today on day 3 of ProMat 2025. Last live stream of the week. But I will say we're going to be going live again next week on Tuesday with our sponsor, Supply Chain Point, upcoming conference in June 1st through 4th. And we're going to be talking to a couple warehouse operators and hearing what are their challenges inside the 4 walls today. So make sure you check that out in the same place you're watching this live stream today. And if you're still here at ProMat, if you're watching this, or maybe you're coming in late, feel free to stop by, say hello to us. We'll be around a little bit, and we'll be going booth to booth this afternoon and tomorrow morning to get some additional podcasts in that we'll be releasing in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you stay tuned to all things The New Warehouse at thenewwarehouse.com. Or follow us here on LinkedIn if you're watching on LinkedIn, or subscribe on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube, or follow us on Instagram if you're watching on Instagram. We're streaming all over the place. And I want to say a big thank you to everyone that came out last night to our Warehousing After Dark in-person live event. First Warehousing After Dark in person. It was a great turnout and fantastic networking opportunity for a lot of people. Great connections made. We'll be having a virtual Warehousing After Dark coming up in April as well. So make sure you look out for that and follow all things The New Warehouse. And we'll see you somewhere at a show or at a conference, and reach out. If you got any questions, any comments, tell us what you liked about the live streams. Tell us what you didn't like about the live stream so we can make these better for the next conferences coming up. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate all the listeners and everybody that's supported over the last 6 years. That's it for today. Have a good rest of the day.